I find it silly that many boomers still think you can walk in and ask for a job. Back in 2017, when I was looking for my first true job, my dad would try to drive me around town trying to go door to door to hand in my application. Even back in those days I knew everything was done online. He finally got the message after the first rejections to tell me to apply online. Anyone else have a similar situation trying to get their boomer relatives that applications are only done online these days? I learned that the hard way back in 2012 when I got out of the military. Stupidly thought I could go and find a job that paid $15 per hour. Found one that paid $9.75. Still bitter. So few places take paper applications anymore. Pounding the pavement hasn't worked for decades. Not only are they done online, but if you don't have the right keywords in your resume, then an actual person might not even see it because it gets thrown out by an automated system. So different now. I was in my early 20s during the transition. There needs to be a reality show purely for boomers to try and get jobs without connections. I want to see their reactions when they're told to not apply in person. March in there, look the manager right in the eye, and give him a firm handshake. I work construction and walk-in hiring is still a really real thing. I can't remember where I was applying, but I got buzzed through a locked door to a lobby to hand in a resume. The advice I was given was to at least call in first if you're doing that because of active shooter type threats. Showing up in person is threatening now. We are a manufacturer. Hire walk-ins all the time. Right now in Ontario, if you walk in and don't have a needle hanging out of your arm, you're hired. A lot of places have badge readers, so you can't walk in anyway. In my early years, I would go to the temp agency and they might, usually didn't, find me a job. The job I got last year was technically the first one where I applied online and actually got hired. This works in the construction. We hire electricians and helpers all the time. If a greenie has enough balls to come ask for a job, then he is good enough to work for me. The modern equivalent is networking. You can definitely reach out to friends and acquaintances when looking for a job. If you have proven desirable skills, then positions can be created for you. The best example is the trades. The worst example is nepotism. Dang. I spent 10 years just walking into bars and restaurants getting waitress, bartender gigs from 20,082,018. Pretty sure that's still the move for that industry. In the last couple decades, it really changed. Companies generally seem very put off by people just walking in and inquiring about a job posting, or asking if they are hiring. Can you apply? You don't seem ambitious. You seem crazy and like you don't understand social norms unless the ad or the sign on the door says something about applying in person. Not a good idea. I'm 37 and have hired at least 6 people I can think of that just walked in and asked for a job. We have 14 or so employees at any given time, and our turnover period is like 3 years AVG. So I would say that the boomers aren't completely wrong by having you go in and do that. But larger companies are all online, while we are a mom and pop shop. Really two brothers. It depends on what you want to do. We are in a sort of niche business in computer repair. So people seek us out to work here because they like what we do. In businesses where you can at best expect to tolerate the work, online is king. For smaller companies, in person is almost always better. I would much rather meet someone first and see how their personality is. We have hired several good employees based off of walking and looking for a job. Even if we were not actively looking for anyone at the time, there are a lot of businesses that may be willing to hire the right person that shows some initiative to show up in person. Most my jobs have been walk-ins. TBH, I prefer it than doing the entire online scene and getting rejected. At least they tell you straight up, no, we have no work, and you can stop wasting time. Hourglass, alarm clock, hourglass, and continue on elsewhere. I'd like to take this time to rant about boomers a bit. Every time I get a haircut at Grey Clips, there's one that saunters in and is asked if they checked in on the app. They don't know what that means and storm off in a huff when told they have to wait 2 hours. The world is really leaving them behind. I think there's still a way to use this method. Apply online to places you would like to work. Then drop by with a one-page resume at a time when they aren't busy. Granted, I told this to high school kids looking for fast food and retail jobs. But I believe when played out right, it can make an impression. Edit to say, don't expect an interview when you drop by, but be prepared for one. In the 6 jobs I've had, 4 were word of mouth and 2 were CV written. I was a store manager, and around 95% of resumes I received from walk-ins was when I wasn't needing any new staff. My other experience in recruiting staff is that if it's more than a couple of weeks after you received the application, then you may as well throw the application away, as most applicants were no longer available. So I no longer take resumes unless I am actively recruiting. Even then, it's easier for me to go through on the computer rather than paper resumes.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.